game day, baby! Let's go!
Welcome, everyone, to NFL Nation Live, our Week 11 show. Yes, I know it's not game day. I also happen to know it's not Thursday, but we had to.
Can't get enough of Violator, man. I got to show that card when you see that intro on him. It's like I got to put that in the camera and make sure if you don't have one, damn it, get the walk, which is right here.
Yep.
Get the walk, but my man Wayne Mabry, aka the Hall of Famer, aka Violator. I'm sorry, I'm doing some plugs today. I'm feeling good.
No, it's okay. It's all good. We understand it's not Thursday. We have scheduling conflict. We'll get to that into the middle of the show. Also, next week we have to do the show on Wednesday as well because there's this little thing called Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So we for a show that moved to Thursday, we're getting our fair share of Wednesdays, but we got a week 10 to get through and a week 11 to get everybody ready for, which starts tomorrow night. We've got a Raiders win, some other stuff to talk about, OC change in Buffalo, blah, blah, blah. Before we get to all the craziness, though, V, what are your quick first thoughts, my friend?
Listen, my first thought is a win is a win. Ugly as it was, that defense showed a little grit, and I'm proud of them.
I don't blame you. Might be a little bit different story this week. We'll get to that.
I like grits. I'm from the South.
Yes.
See, grits.
What do you like with those, by the way?
I actually like them with honey and butter.
Copy that. Okay. Well, very good. In that case, it looks like Cap's ready. I'm pretty much gassed up and ready. V, I think the question here is, are you ready?
Clocked in, baby. Let's get to work.
All right, here we are. Welcome, everyone, to our Week 11 show, NFL Nation Live. Ref Guru, along with the Hall of Famer, Wayne Violator Mabry, and the legendary Pirate, Captain Jack. Let's close the books on Week 10. Carolina went into Chicago. Nobody cares. The Bears beat him by 3 points. Nobody has anything to say about that. We can go across the pond to Germany, where Coach B is still looking for a win, 301. After that debacle, if you will, against the Colts. The Colts really didn't win that V as much as the Patriots gave it away.
Yes, sir. And you talk about levels of play. What can you say? Like, all the teams have their peaks and valleys, but I think the Patriots now are going through their valley. And let's see if Coach B survives that valley.
Well, Coach B, you're still looking for 301. You couldn't get it done against the Colts. You getting ready for the bye week?
It's okay. The beer is freaking great over there, man.
Oh, yeah. It probably is. Huh?
There is nothing like a boy. Well, I think they say it calls it a beer house over in Deutschland. You know, you can't get enough good German beer. And I tell you, you get away from the chicks from the Wild Orchid. You get away from the Asian chicks. You got some big Fraulines in front of you with the big gazongas and all the other things at the beer house. Yeah, it sucks we lost, but you know what? If you can go get Hilda and Heige and Helga and all the other big Fraulines in there, you just get a bunch of in your face. It's a good thing to come home to after that. Let's just put it that way.
Well, you get to go into the bye week. Be really interesting to know if you come back with a different quarterback, but
well, if I keep acting like this, it's going to be really bye week because my girlfriend's going to get rid of me.
Well, yeah. Well, you probably have some
bye.
Anyway, but all right. So Cleveland went into Baltimore, guys. This was the game the Ravens led 31-17 with about 10 minutes to go, and then all hell broke loose. They give up a touchdown to Cleveland and then a quick pick six. Next thing you know, Browns kick a field goal. This thing is over for the Ravens at home. But I'm not sure who lost here because although the Ravens lost the ball game, Cleveland Browns lost their quarterback.
Yep. I heard the news earlier this morning.
Yep.
Watson's been put on IR for the remainder of the season with a
Yep. Shoulder injury.
shoulder injury,
Yeah.
fracture.
Yeah.
So
Well, I don't know if that puts the Cleveland Browns out, but it could delay, um, you know, a few things. It certainly delayed the Ravens getting a chance to go up another game in the division. I think what's going to happen this week now, because they've got Cincinnati tomorrow night at home. They need to win that one. A Baltimore loss against Cincinnati throws that division into a complete tailspin. But now you've got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are going to get a Cleveland Browns team without Deshaun Watson. I'm not sure that evens the score up there necessarily because of that Browns defense, especially when you have a Steelers team that's not scoring a lot, but it could make things interesting in the AFC North. Houston went into Cincinnati, beat the Cincinnati Bengals. This was one of the games last week, you all, that we said was a trap game for the Bengals. It turns out if you're going to play, just like the Ravens would say after, you got to play 60 minutes.
definitely so. And they fell right into that trap that you guys had mentioned on last week. These young Texans, I got to give them their kudos.
No doubt.
They are for real.
Yep.
And great head coach that doesn't let these guys quit. And
right.
I said last week, I think they don't even know what they don't know.
That's probably true. That's right. And maybe they don't have to. I mean, CJ Stroud playing over his head at this point, coupled with a pretty good, decent defense. This is a Texans team, y'all, that might actually make the playoffs.
I tell you though, but I don't remember if I did pick them, but there were two games. There were two games last week that I said I could see this team winning, and one of those teams, if I recall right, we might have to go to the tape. Is Houston against the Bengals, and the other one was the Monday night game that just transpired as well.
Oh yeah,
we're going to be talking about that on Wild Wild West show after this. Is like I could see the Broncos coming in and beating the Bills, and that one was for sure. But like I say, the way that Houston is playing, they're rejuvenated, they're revitalized. So I don't know who the hell else is in that division. I know that the Jaguars are the only other team that would even be a benefit to Houston. I think Indy, without their quarterback, is an also ran.
It's in trouble, right? Yeah. Right. Although
in Tennessee, Tennessee is Tennessee. Although I got my hat for that later on. But I tell you, don't count out Houston making a late surge. And if they don't make it this year, put them on playoff watch for next year as well.
Well, the other thing too is, they can win enough games to put themselves in the mid or later rounds of the draft, but it looks like they don't have a lot of holes to fill at the moment. So I don't know if teams just aren't prepared to play the Texans yet. They haven't figured them out yet. Maybe they won't figure them out come playoff time. They might figure them out. This is a young ball club, if you will, that doesn't have a lot of playoff experience, a la Buffalo, Kansas City, Cincinnati, stuff like that. But it could be interesting to see if they get a wild card. And with regards to,
they got the head coach though, like we got the head coach, is a dynamic linebacker that is inspiring, and that's something you need nowadays.
It is, and it's good to see that. And with regards to the Buffalo game, we talked about this last week. You guys said that the key to Denver winning the game was that Buffalo would give it to them, and that's exactly what they did. And you hit it on both points. You hit it on special teams, and you hit it on the fact that Josh Allen tends to give it away, which he did. And speaking of the AFC South, the Texans got a break because Jacksonville got their ass handed to them by San Francisco. No surprise there, you guys, with the 49ers coming off the bye, even though they had to go all the way to the East Coast to play Jacksonville. But this is a Jaguars team that makes me a little bit nervous at this point, and maybe we're not talking Texans wild card. Maybe we're talking Texans division title. Because Jacksonville has Tennessee this week and a heavy dose of Derrick Henry. If that defense doesn't step up, I'm not so sure I'm sold on Jacksonville at this point.
Yeah, well, they can be a Jekyll and Hyde team. Like I said, the defense has been lacking for less of a better word.
Yeah,
they've been lacking the last couple of weeks, but I see them pulling their heads out and turning that thing around.
Well, they're going to have to via, but if they're going to do that, they're going to have to do it in a hurry.
Yes.
Because they've got Tennessee this week, and Houston's number 11 in the NFL in scoring, right? So that's pretty good considering that Jacksonville is 19. So that's a factor as well. They're playing, of course, Jacksonville's going to play a Tennessee team that's not scoring a lot of points, but they don't have to with the way Jacksonville's playing at this point. New Orleans went into Minnesota, got beat by the Vikings. Not a huge stretch here that the Nordics won at home, but I think, guys, not only was Derek Carr dinged up, but again, this is a Saints team that hasn't beaten anybody with a record over 500.
Absolutely, and like I say, seeing number 4 go down again, what they said concussion possibly, but with that shoulder injury, man, he's really taken some pounding since taking over down in New Orleans. But that offense is just like you say again, is not putting up a lot of points. So
we're getting to the time of the year, guys, when that's a big factor as to whether or not you're going to go forward or not. You look at the top 10 teams: Miami, Baltimore, Dallas, Buffalo, Philadelphia, San Francisco, surprisingly Indianapolis, Detroit, the LA Chargers, and Minnesota, all in the top 10. And out of those, Minnesota is the one that we put on the clock a while back. Still not afraid of that one at this point because they still have some important games to be played. GA Patriot in there with the Broncos didn't beat the Bills. That's true. The Bills gave it away. Speaking of giving it away, the Packers did essentially that same thing in Pittsburgh.
Give it away, give it away, give it away now.
Yeah.
Give it away, give it away, give it away now.
And why
give
not?
It away, give it away, give it away now. Oh, yeah, we needed some chili peppers. Sorry.
That's it.
But you're absolutely right because you got, in an 8-point win for the Steelers at home doesn't say a lot for Pittsburgh, although, it records as a win. 8 points over a pretty sloppy and bad Packers team doesn't say a lot. So I think Pittsburgh's probably in trouble from that standpoint. But, man, this is a Packers team that has tanked pretty quickly since Aaron Rodgers left.
Who?
Right.
Since that guy that used to wear number 12 left for another team in New York, not called the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, there's only one football team in the state of New York, and it's in the upper northwest.
That's why I said Buffalo.
But that's it. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. We've got both of those teams on the clock, so it doesn't really matter.
Yes, sir. Yes,
all right. An interesting game. There were several, but this was one. Atlanta went into Arizona. Man, you guys, they ran into a buzzsaw. The Kyler Murray looked like his old self. We weren't sure if he was going to play well. Man, they stung the Falcons, ripped their feathers out, kicked them in the bird nuts, and sent them home. I mean, another team like Atlanta, where you're going to win on the road, you better play 61.5 minutes. And boy, I tell you what, they didn't even do that. And the Cardinals ended up kicking a field goal for the win.
Well, like I say, I think they were inspired with the return of Murray, and the whole team just had a different spark about them, from the highlights that I saw.
Well, the Cardinals team that scored 25 points, which is pretty good at home. I still think they're going to struggle with that on the road if they don't get it together because they still don't have much in the way of a running game. But I think the thing that concerns me now is that you're starting to see some separation in the NFC South. The Saints have lost now. The Falcons have lost. The Bucks got the win. And even though it's a game or two there, the faux Pirates probably look like they're in the best position at this point to maybe put some nails in the coffin on that division.
Well, don't worry. They have opportunities to give it away yet.
Oh, no, that's true.
Give it away.
That's true. Somebody's going to have to win and have to lose it in.
I got an earworm.
NFL record 6 games decided by last-minute field goals. I think that's probably true.
6 games.
One of them that was one of those games was the Michigan Cat went into L.A. to take on the Chargers. This was a game where no defense was played really at all. The Chargers let it slip away. Detroit, you have to say, it essentially escaped with the win, 41-38 against the Chargers in LA. Does this say more about the resolve of the Detroit Lions, or does this say,
Damn it, I can't find my beret.
oh, dang it?
Yeah. Well,
Well,
well. Listen.
It's here somewhere. Someone is effing with my hats.
I got you. Jock.
I got your hat. Never mind.
Detroit going in
Thank
and
you.
beating up on the Chargers. It says a lot about them coming across country and still, beating these guys in their own den. Like say, just a well coached team, and like the Chargers, they're just
The thing, I think there are two things that stood out for me, V, in that game. One is Detroit's running game is better than anybody's really given them credit for at this point, which means Jared Goff doesn't have to carry the entire offense on his shoulders. But I think the other thing, too, is that, if Detroit wants to go deep in the playoffs, they're going to have to tighten a few things up on defense because they gave up 38 points to the Chargers. That's not going to go well long-term into January.
Oh, no, definitely not.
Screw it. I'm going to use this.
There
Okay.
he is.
So, welcome to the show.
Jean-Paul Jacques.
So, yeah.
Étoile Léon. Get that shit
Jacques
right.
Leon.
There you go.
So King Leon, you went into LA and beat the Chargers. Congratulations.
Yes, he's there. They don't have home field there. I mean, even the home team, what do you call the LA Rem?
Yeah.
They don't have home field in that. That stadium is a piece of merde.
It's the Raiders' secondary home is what it is.
That's the home field for the Raiders.
Yeah.
Then it's unfortunate that the Raiders can't win in their home field. They've been in that stadium, I think, 3 times. Zero wins. Zero wins in the home field. That is piece poor.
Yeah.
Piece poor. I still got to find my friggin' beret. But
that's okay. Well, congratulations on the win. You get a bye week this week at home against the Chicago Bears. So that'll be a good division win.
That's why I have a bye week. Good. I have a week to find my friggin' beret.
Yeah. You have to beat the Bears doing it, but yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, I can do that shit. I can do that with my hands tied behind my back.
Perfect. Exactly.
Like a French whore in Paris.
Yeah, you and the Cowboys who beat up on the Giants. I mean, that's really not much of a game, you all from that standpoint. But Tex-Mex got the win on that one. No big surprise.
Are you doing another? I have to do a hat change. You imbecile. I need to get my friggin' hat.
Okay, well, here's your cue. The New York Giants went into Dallas.
Oh, Dallas!
To take on the Cowboys.
Okay, wait a second. I just had that other one. Shit, where did it go? Oh, here it is.
Whirling
okay, well, it's okay.
I got it back.
There you go. Okay, Tex.
Right.
So you got the win against the New York Giants, which doesn't say much, but a win is a win.
I tell you, my little sister has a pee-wee football team that can beat them bastards. What was surprising that they actually got a touchdown against us. I think it might have been a pity. They only scored like 10 points, right?
Yeah. 17.
17, yeah.
Oh, well, I turned it off after they scored 10, so I only saw 10.
I don't blame you. Well, you've got Carolina this week. Even though you have to travel east a little bit, it should be a pretty easy win against the Panthers. I don't really think they're going to give you much trouble.
Them cats have no teeth. Them cats have no teeth.
And then you turn it around really quickly on Thursday, Thanksgiving, I think, against Washington. So
you're talking about them Commodores. We need to cue up the music there, V, for the Commodore. We're gonna have some machine gun and some Texas Hold'em, and so you like to have a Texas machine gun combination with the high kicks, and it's gonna be beautiful with the big busty ladies down in Texas dancing the machine gun. I think Jack might be able to crank that up on for Thanksgiving, but that'll be next week.
There you go.
All right. Well, it'll be really interesting to see how it all plays out, but I think Dallas is going to get, they're going to go on at least a 3-4 game winning streak here, which is going to look good on paper. But that's going to keep the pressure on the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles don't get three easy games in a row like the Cowboys do. One of those games, Jay Patriots referring to as a last-second field goal was the one in Seattle, where Washington went in. Didn't look good to start. Seattle looked like they might be able to handle business, but the Commodores stormed back, and it was a last under the last few seconds drive by Seattle to get them into field goal range to win this one. And to say Seattle escaped with the almost trap game win is really an understatement, especially with the way that the Commodores played on the road.
It kind of is, Ref, but like you say, Seattle squeaked out that win with the winning field goal. Like I say, Washington came across country and tried to really represent their division.
We were dancing. We were dancing.
Well,
we were dancing.
Yeah.
Well, need to get my Starbucks cup for the damn the Seahawks.
Yeah.
I got to get I'll get a Starbucks cup.
Okay.
I'll do that.
Well, we put Washington on the clock a couple weeks ago, so not surprised that they're not pulling it together. But the Seahawks reminded everybody last week that you better be ready to play every single week, and they've got the Rams this week in LA. The New York Jets went to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. This one wasn't pretty. Raiders got the win. You could actually almost call it a little bit ugly. It might get a little more ugly this week. We'll get to that when we talk about the Raiders game in Miami for week 11. But a win's a win against the Jets. The old AFL matchups makes it even a little bit better. But V and Cap, even that last play by the Jets was a little bit scary.
Yes, it was. That almost Hail Mary.
Yeah.
Like I say, great defensive breakup, but the pass was right on target.
Yeah.
It could have ended differently.
It could have ended differently. And I think everybody in there was kind of collectively holding their breath as the ball kind of sailed through the air there.
Yeah.
Yeah, right to my right, because again, I'm corner end zone, but on the opposite side, and I'm looking and I'm like, man, don't even do this to me. And my angle, like I said, I saw the ball go down and I saw the receiver go up, but I couldn't tell who did what because there was just a big bump of everybody in there.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they didn't call DPI.
Okay? That's what I was expecting the flag.
Yeah, I'm like, but there was people that were making the play. There was the guy, they were going up for it. Our guy was going up for it. Again, I couldn't see who rejected what, or if the receiver just had it and then I couldn't. Now on the replay, it looks like, the guy came down and swatted it from behind. Thank God.
Swatted it away. Yeah, that's what happened.
Thank goodness, because again, he's not there. That's a Jets win.
It's Jets win.
Yeah. I mean, it was the win, but I was a little bit nervous. At first, I wasn't too bad. I wasn't worried about the last play because Wilson was so far over towards the sideline to let it go. But then when it looked like it was going to come down, inbounds or near the end zone, I was like, uh-oh. Because so many things can go wrong there. You can get the deflection. Somebody can fall down. Like you said, you can have
jump.
You can have a DPI, but it was a good win. But it was, it went all the way to the end.
And Meek Robertson wasn't there to save us this time because he had I tell you, when he left the game, I don't think he even knew where he was or what day it was,
Probably
what
not.
stadium. And I'm trying to make light of it. It was very severe, him walking off the field into that tunnel right next to me. I'm glad that they said that he was better afterwards.
After the game,
again, we don't need him to miss any games. In our defensive back. Now we might have picked up a good D back this week, and hopefully we start seeing him pretty soon.
This young Jack Jones,
we definitely need some bodies back there. Bennett came in, played well in his stead. I was very glad to see that. But like I said, we need all hands on deck for all the games that we got. We can't afford to lose too many more.
If any. And then GA Patriots in there, Raiders beat the toughest defense left on their schedule. That's true. But it was offset by the fact that the Jets can't score any points. And so there's two sides of that piece. We've got to get the score machine going, guys. We're 26th in the NFL. You're behind Green Bay, the Rams, Tampa Bay, Arizona, some teams in the bottom there that are ugly, and we got to put points on the board. This is a Miami team that we obviously know can score a lot of points
quickly.
Yeah, and quickly. Yeah. On Monday night, Denver went into Buffalo. We touched on this earlier, but we hit it last week when we said that this was a potential trap game for the Bills.
Yep.
Couple things here now, guys. They've not only lost this game, if you will, or essentially gave it away on the turnovers, and then the giving the Denver an extra shot at the field goal by having 12 men on the field.
Right.
But they've lost their offensive coordinator. They're 5-5. How big a trouble are the Bills in right now?
I think they're in a rough patch here. That was a trap game for them, but like I say, when the quarterback had such a bad game, it's just I couldn't figure out what the problem was. It wasn't that their Denver's defense was playing so well. He was just missing wide open guys.
Yeah,
miscues here and there. But that one that got me was the 12 men on the field. When you've got the guy behind, that's his job to count everybody in front.
Yeah, and there was some chatter on the internet why they officials didn't stop the game, allowing the defense to make adjustments, but you can't do that inside of 2 minutes.
That's right. Exactly.
So that's
unfortunately, I saw most of that game. I had landed by that time in Tampa, and it was like the last thing that I saw before the Southwest TV feed went was like inside a minute, and the Broncos had gotten into like about the 40-yard line of Buffalo. And it was about a little less than a minute left, and I'm like, man, don't even give this game away. I didn't even know until my show last night that the Bills gave it away with those 12 men on the field. Yeah. I'm like, are you kidding me?
No.
I mean, you have Allen that threw like 2 picks. You had a fumble by the guys, 4 turnovers plus stupid plays on defense like that. That, I mean, it's great if you're a fan of the Donkeys. Yeah. But if you are a fan of the Bills, seeing that was a winnable game, and you gift wrapped it not just for Christmas, you gift wrapped it for Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, and New Year's to the Denver Broncos. I mean, it's stupid.
Well, this is a Buffalo Bills team, guys, that still has Philadelphia, Kansas City, and Miami all on the road, and Dallas at home. So when you've lost 5 games, the most you can win is 12, and they may end up something like 10-7, and that's going to give Miami probably give Miami the division, which puts the Bills in a likely wild card spot, but that puts them on the road. The question then is where, and that could be Miami, that could be Cincinnati, Baltimore, whatever. So it could be this Bills team, man. If they had
enough to make the playoffs.
If they had a window, I won't say it's close, but boy, they're dropping the shades on that thing pretty quickly now, and I think that the running game may hurt them a little bit. But again, that's a pretty tough schedule when you've got Philadelphia on the road. They've got the Jets this week. Buffalo does at home. Then so they got the Jets at home, then they're at Philadelphia, then they have the bye, but then they're at Kansas City. So 2 out of the next 3, if you will, are on the road, give or take the bye. Dallas at home, the Chargers, New England, and then they finish at Miami. So if they have any wagons or radio flyer things to circle, they better get the wheels bolted on and get those things out of the garage. Welcome to the show, Michael and Ed.
Yeah, Michael,
appreciate you being here.
That's it.
Good to see you all. Okay, I think we pretty well closed the books on week 10. The games that we mentioned last week that were trap games turned out to be just pretty much that.
Pretty much that.
So we were pretty much on it in last week's game. We're going to take a quick break here, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about week 11. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to NFL Nation Live, our Week 11 show. Ref Guru, Violator, Captain Jack here to get you ready for Week 11, the week prior to Thanksgiving, when next week we'll have a full schedule. This week we have 4 teams on a bye: Atlanta, New England, Indianapolis, and the New Orleans Saints. Quite frankly, guys, the bye couldn't come at a better time for New Orleans after their loss last week, and they're in Minnesota, plus getting dinged up. But tomorrow night, maybe not in terms of scoring, but in terms of matchups, one of the better Thursday night games we're going to see. The Cincinnati Bengals, who lost at home against Houston, go into Baltimore to take on the Ravens, who lost at home against the Browns. I don't know of a Week 11 division matchup that means more than this one.
This is like I said, first of all, it's a great matchup, but by
Mhm.
both teams losing at home,
Yeah.
let's see who's pissed off the most. But I'm giving Baltimore a slight edge being at home this time.
Yeah.
But
Well, if the Ravens are pissed off, this is not the week the Cincinnati Bengals wants the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens, though, have proven that they're vulnerable if they don't play for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
But the Bengals have proven that as well. So I just think that the Ravens are the better team at the moment. But if Cincinnati wants to make a run, guys, and especially not only for the playoffs, for the division, it pretty much starts tomorrow.
Yeah, I gotta think that Joe Burrow and the boys are going to be up for it. The problem is that they're going into a pissed off purple birdhouse.
Yeah.
And I gotta like the Ravens defense over a Cincinnati team just a smidge. I don't know what the line is, but if you're going to be betting and I'm not a better, I don't even know what the
thing.
I take the money line and take Baltimore.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Cap, because part of what hurt the Ravens was the Browns' running game, which we've alluded to before in the show, which is something the Bengals don't really have or haven't been able to get established enough. They've only got the one-headed monster in Mixon, which isn't bad, but I don't think it's going to be enough against that Ravens 3-4 at this point. There are several division games. This is not one of them. Dallas is going to go into Carolina and beat the Panthers. Tex, how you feeling about declawing some cats this week?
Well, the one good thing we're going to have with Carolina, and we're going to get some barbecue. It's not as good as Texas barbecue, but it is good barbecue in Carolina. And I just think that it's going to be, it's not going to be a walkover game, like I said, but we're going to be eating well. We'll have some Carolina ribs, and we're going to beat the hell out of those pussycats that they have up there.
Yeah.
In, wherever the hell that city is. I just know it's one of those Carolina cities.
Charlotte. And Ed's got a good point. We do look tiny, but that's because we opened the chat up so that folks can see the comments. If we didn't have the chat, we'd look a lot bigger.
Right, absolutely.
Get out your binoculars.
You make yourself bigger. Well, I
can make myself bigger, but never mind.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Hold on, Dex. Hold on.
We could.
Got to go to my fan club. What do you call that? That real fans?
Only fans.
There you go.
You
must got one of them channels. I don't even know what the hell it's called because you know what the hell it's called. I'll be watching you, brother.
Yeah, so is everybody else. Well, Ed, we could make ourselves bigger, but I'd have to close the chat.
That's going to cost you $10.99 a month.
I'm not that pretty to look at anyway. On the other hand, V and Cap probably have a lot more to say about that. But in any case, Tex, congratulations on your win this week against the Panthers.
Got you, brother. I'm going to go off now because I got a couple girls in the
back. Got you.
Busy man. I got Dallas. I hope they don't play down to Carolina in this one. And make it a real yawner, but I'm taking Dallas.
Yeah, I think you have to take Dallas. I think there's 6 or 7 division games this week. This is one of them. Pittsburgh's going to go into Cleveland, take on the Browns. The Browns team now without Deshaun Watson for the rest of the season, but I don't know how much that really hurts when you got a Steelers team who can hold their own from a defensive standpoint, but guys, they're just not scoring enough points. You got a Cleveland team that's 13th in the NFL in scoring, and a Pittsburgh Steelers team that's 27th. I like Cleveland at home because Pittsburgh's not scoring any points.
Yeah.
I'm gonna step out on the wild side. I'm taking
Ooh,
Pittsburgh and an
ooh.
upset in Cleveland because of their D and
All right.
turnovers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
that's a possibility. I think Pittsburgh is probably the better football team, but that Cleveland defense,
They've
for
been holding on.
for a team that they're playing a team that's 27th in scoring. I mean, Kenny Pickett better he better pick up his game.
Yeah,
if
it's
they
going to
want
be
to win.
another Pickett's charge up north, and this time. And remember, the last time they had a Pickett's charge in Pennsylvania. Well, it's not quite Pennsylvania, but it's
Yeah.
close, right?
Yeah, right.
It wasn't successful either.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Browns because they can actually score.
Yeah. Pittsburgh's defense can hold the line maybe for 48 minutes. That other 12 minutes, all hell could break loose.
And Robinson's a decent quarterback.
Yeah, he is.
With Cleveland,
and he's been in there already before, so it's not like he's coming cold turkey off the bench.
Yep.
So another division game, Chicago going to go in to Michigan to take on the French Cats. So I'm not sure if
I still can't find my damn hat.
I was wondering if you had found it yet, Jock. But in any case, you got the Bears this week. I'm not so sure they're going to give you much trouble up there in Pontiac.
You know, their part of France is Algeria. In Algeria, they wear kufi. So I'm wearing a proper hat. I'm wearing a kufi from Algeria. Algeria is part of France. It's like the southern portion of France on the tip of Africa.
Okay.
Vive la France, vive l'Algérie, and vive les Détroits Lions.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations.
I still need to find my friggin' beret. I'll find it here somewhere.
Well, congratulations on beating the Bears.
Well, that's easy. It's the Bears. Come on.
Yep. Ed is right. Cleveland's backup is playing
pretty good.
Well enough to beat Pittsburgh when you don't have to score a lot of points. The Chargers are going to go into Lambeau to take on the Packers. I really don't see how the Packers are going to win this. The Chargers team that pretty much can put up points whenever they want to put up points, and a Packers team that can't seem to put up points if they want to put up points.
Yeah, I got the Chargers in this one. Pretty much a sleeper game. Like I said, Green Bay just can't seem to put it all together this season. But Chargers are not all the way there, but they're good enough to beat these guys.
Well, and that's the problem is that they are good enough to beat the Packers on the road, which a couple of years ago probably wouldn't have happened. And this is a game that we really need the help from a Packers team that we're not going to get, right?
I'm hoping we get a miracle from them. But
I mean, you know, there's always a game or two that you don't expect, and I'm hoping that this was the game. Like I said, you know, the Chargers choked because that's why they are the San Diego, Los Angeles Garglers.
Yeah,
they choked up against the Lions. Lyon, vive Lyon, and hopefully they can go get another loss in the NFC, what Berman calls the NFC Norris division. That's a hockey reference for you guys that don't get it.
Right.
But yeah, hopefully they can go up and choke up in the Norris division of the NFC North.
Yeah, Ed says Staley's losing the locker room. He may have already lost it, but if they get beat by the Packers, who lost last week,
we'll have our second firing of the season.
Absolutely, because they've been after him all season anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the fans have been calling for his head. So,
an Arizona Cardinals team that beat the Falcons last week at home with the last-second field goal. We're going to go into Houston. This is a crazy matchup. You've got a Cardinals team now with Kyler Murray back that can go all over the place against what's turning out to be a pretty solid Texans team. I like Houston at home, but the Angry Birds may give the Texans all they want on Sunday.
I think they will give them a close one, but I'm taking Houston at home. I don't see these youngsters bagging down from the birds out of the desert. I got Houston.
Well, I just think the Cardinals' defense probably isn't going to be able to handle Houston for 60 minutes. I think that they may be able to handle them for a little bit, but I'm not sure. I think the Texans are better than Atlanta, and I think that playing at home, but it could be a very good game though. But I like the Texans as well.
Go with the Black Hats of the Texans.
Okay.
And by the way, Kyler Murray comes up to about a Stroud's belly button.
Oh,
Put them
okay.
side by side.
Good to know.
Mm.
GA Patriot says Houston wins 111 to 109. Might
And
very
then
well be. But I'll
no
tell you
deal.
what,
Wow.
that game's probably not going to be viewed by a lot of people unless you have Sunday ticket, and that could be a humdinger. He's right. I mean, there could be a lot of offense there. I think the Houston's defense is decent enough to figure out the Cardinals, but obviously not stop them. So it could be very interesting. Maybe who has the ball last in that one. That said, I like Texans special teams better than Arizona. Right. And the fact that they're playing at home, I'd give the Texans the edge there.
The edge. Absolutely.
Whiskey Jack and the Tennessee Titans are going to go into Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. Guys, this is a Jaguars team that's reeling a little bit. They've kind of lost their control, if you will, on the division. I mean, to a point. Right now, they're a game ahead of Houston, but that could turn this week. Tennessee's essentially out of it at 3-6, but they could play spoiler. I don't know if I trust Jacksonville to go in there and beat the Titans in Tennessee. So I think it could be interesting. When I think what bothers me about Jacksonville
they were
right
playing
now is their
in
defense.
Jacksonville. You better tell me because I already made my flight arrangements.
My bad. They're playing in Jacksonville.
Okay, sorry. Because if I'm going to Florida and I already bought my flight, I don't want to have to call up Southwest Airlines and say, "Hey, I need a refund because I'm playing at home." Because you said we were playing at home. No, I got my flight into Jacksonville. By the way, Jacksonville Jacksonville sucks.
Well, there's that. But you talking about the city or the Jaguars?
I'm talking about the city. Now the football team is, like I said, that's where I'm going to be getting my shine out, and I'm going to be selling a lot of shine out in the parking lot because they got all these people that all they say is Duval. I'm like, dude, I got some dude shine, and so I'll get
you get a chant going,
yeah. Well,
I got Jacksonville too.
I think the fact that it's in Jacksonville makes the Jaguars the favorite. I just don't see them dropping 2 in a row, but they're going to have to stop Derrick Henry.
Unfortunately,
and we say that every week against Tennessee, and they're 3-6
for more home games. I just got to go.
Yep.
But like I said, we say that, Rev, but like I say, Mr. Henry can crank up all the yards and all that stuff, but how many touchdowns has he scored, though?
Well, that's the point. And then Tennessee's 28th in scoring.
Yeah.
I think Tennessee missed the boat by not getting some draft capital for Henry before the trading deadline. I think he could have gone somewhere like Baltimore or someplace and changed the way the 2023 season is going to end for some teams. And in this case, Tennessee.
Or the Rams.
But maybe he didn't want to go.
Maybe he didn't want to go. That's true.
Maybe he didn't want to go.
Yeah.
Jaguars are killing my fantasy production. Copy that. Thank you, Trevor Lawrence. All right, the Las Vegas Raiders are going to go into Miami to take on the Dolphins. These franchises have a long and storied history of games played against each other over the years. We can remember a number of them ourselves, Sea of Hands and all that. But I just don't know if the Raiders are going to have the offense necessary to keep up with the Dolphins in Miami. I know that the defense is decent, but I just don't like this matchup of our offense against that defense, which isn't that great. But again, this is the Raiders team is 26th in scoring. And I just don't think that in 1 week we're just going to be able to flip the switch. This is not Rich Gannon, Jerry Rice, and Tim Brown out there, Zach Miller and all that stuff. This is, AOT4. And nothing knock against Jacoby Myers and Devontae Adams, but it takes the whole package. And I just don't know if we've got that whole package ready for the Miami Dolphins.
Well, I'm hoping that we come out of our bag and shorten the game by running the rock. Maintaining possession, eating up that clock to keep Miami's offense on the sideline chilling under the misters. But you know, I'm still pulling for them. I'm still pulling for them for an upset. So, but it will be a hard game.
After 2 wins in a row, though. This was the NFL's way of saying, not this year,
Not right.
because our referee is Bill Vinovich.
Bill Vinovich. How did we get Bill
Mm.
Vinovich when we had him for the week 1 game, and then they turn around and give
Because it's the most important.
Bill.
Because it's the most important game of our
Game.
season, and his crew's already seen the Raiders, so they know what to call now.
Bingo.
Yeah. Set up from the get-go, huh?
I think the only good thing about this game is the fact that it is later November, and it's not September or October, because it's a 1 o'clock game, and you play those 1 o'clock games in September, October.
It's hot.
You are boiling.
Mhm.
You are boiling on that side of the field by the way that the sun comes in.
Mhm.
I tell you, I'm going to be corner end zone where the Raiders come out of the tunnel, and I'm almost about ready to get one. They're not allowed in, but is get like a freaking umbrella,
Mhm.
just the shade,
Mhm.
just the shade to put some shade, because there is no shade over there.
Right.
You boil over there, and they do it deliberately too. Obviously,
Oh yeah.
they do it deliberately. Yeah.
And speaking of boiling, we had to move our show from tomorrow to tonight, V, because you're going to Miami. I heard.
Yeah, I'll be down there on for a Black Hole meet and greet, I guess you call it, with one of our new chapters down there. So we're going to kind of bring them into the fold and celebrate with them. So
Nice.
Look forward to meeting all you cats down there.
That'll be fun. So if you're in Florida or wherever you're from, if you're headed to Miami, check out the Black Hole calendar, because it sounds like it's pretty full from the weekend, V, because you're flying out tomorrow, right?
Yes, going out tomorrow.
Yeah. And so
there's Lance Dominguez. Hey, Lance, make sure you guys do something great this weekend and beat the people that we want you to beat.
Yes, I second that, Lance. Yeah.
There you go.
Send that memo out.
Yeah, make sure it gets done. You need to beat the Garglers. Okay,
yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
He says,
luck with that.
You are excited that McDaniel got the boot.
Well, how could you not be?
Right.
I mean, but I think that if somehow the Raiders go down there and beat the Dolphins, I think the whole football world is going to be turned upside freaking down.
Yeah.
Absolutely upside freaking down.
Yeah.
That could be the catalyst. That I can't remember which game it was that Bisaccia won in his final stead as the interim head coach. There was a pivotal game, okay, and it might have been the Indianapolis game in Indianapolis, where we just were on a tear. And granted, it was later in the string, but you needed to beat Indianapolis in order to get to the playoffs. This is that little pivotal game, because remember, you got Miami coming home to get the Chiefs, who are coming on a short week, by the way. Then you get a bye, and then you get the Vikings, who are on a tear as well. So if you go, and even if you, for the next 4 games, which is, at Miami, Kansas City at home, bye week, and then you got the Vikings at home, and then you even got the Chargers on a short week on a Thursday.
Yeah, right.
I'm telling you, you need to be at least 3-1.
Yeah,
if you are
stretch,
3,
at least.
If you are 3-1 in this stretch, you can start actually saying words that begin with P and end with offs.
That's right. And Ed's comment: can AOC4 handle the Dolphins defense? My answer would be no, but that doesn't mean he won't be able to. I think he just needs more time in the defense reading area.
Well, actually, he needs more time to roll the hell out. We were talking about this last night with Miss Peggy, and I'm sorry, Ref, I had to cut you off on that one. But like I said, the offensive line, and Peggy very, very astutely mentioned this, the 3 up front, from left guard to center to right guard is a sieve. Okay,
Yeah.
is a sieve, and they come up right up into his face, and that's why he doesn't have a lot of time to throw. If they institute some sort of rollout to him, and most since
Yes.
he's a right-hander, it would most likely be a rollout to the right because it's easier to roll out to your throwing hand, right? If they institute some sort of rollout to give him an extra couple seconds, he might be able to throw beyond the linebackers, and we got the receivers for it. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of him getting time. You talk about time to read and time to get acclimated. You get time behind that line, which is a sieve, and you're going to need to do that, especially with the defenses you got coming up. Dolphins have a really good defense. Obviously, Kansas City's defense is no one to sneeze at. And then you got Minnesota, which has a good defense. I think he will be ready for the Chargers defense the second time.
I agree.
But like I said,
Yeah.
he needs the more time. He needs literally more time to throw.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get him out of that pocket, basically. What's up, James? Thanks for
Or
joining.
put him in the shotgun.
Well, yeah, we haven't seen that yet, have we?
No.
They need
Ah.
something.
Just don't roll out to the short side of the field.
But no, to piggyback on what Cap said about the big three in the middle, that's why you see Jacobs already has to make a jump move in the backfield.
No, that's right.
Because he has no lanes there at all.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Or his guys are getting pushed back right into him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yep. Yeah, there's definitely some issues there, which equates to being 26th in scoring, right? So
I think this coaching staff, though, this coming season will address both sides of the line.
Well, and I agree with you guys in the fact that head coach Pierce, seems to be able to identify the problem areas. It doesn't mean they can fix everything, but part of my frustration in the past is I haven't heard from anybody who seemed to know what the hell was going on. And he clearly is seeming to be able to identify what the issues are, how they address them, and all that sort of stuff's another thing. But they say about any problem, admitting there is one or identifying what that is the first step, right? So at least we're getting that out of this administration, which we weren't getting before. Seemingly we couldn't seem to get before, or we weren't hearing it. So I don't know if it just didn't want to say it, couldn't say it. I just think they're too stupid to see it. I think this staff's probably figuring it out. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. The New York Giants are going to go into Washington and play the Commodores in a game that doesn't matter. I think Washington wins at home just because the Giants are in such bad shape right now. But this is a game when we played quite a bit under the radar, probably with only interest in those two cities with regards to how that one comes out. The faux Pirates are going to go into San Francisco. They're going to get a they're going to get a red-hot San Francisco team. Not going to end well for Baker Mayfield and the Bucs, you guys.
That's Baker plays.
That's it. I got Washington and I've got San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco will be my game of the week, if you will. In other words, the one team you think has a clear shot at winning. Yeah. You would think the Buffalo Bills playing at home against the Jets would be a win for them after that debacle last night, Monday night against Denver, and giving that one away. And I think they're going to get it done. This is a Jets team. I think now everybody talks about the defense. The defense isn't going to go away, but I think the Bills have got it figured out enough that they can get the win here. But you just kind of got a sense from I got a feeling from the Jets that while the defense is loud and proud, they're tired, and their offense is not scoring any points. And you wonder how long that Jets defense is going to be able to keep them in ball games that they're not winning.
Yeah, we saw that during our play with the Jets. That defense it got worn down. I mean, they were clicking on all cylinders the first half, but as the second half of the game went on, you could see their legs they were gone.
Yeah, Lance is in. The Crosby's one of the best players in the league. I would agree. As would most people. Mayer looks promising. I would agree with that too. We need to get the ball to him.
Get the ball to him more,
especially in the red zone. James is asking the guys' thoughts on the new cornerback. I think we talked about this a little bit before he came into the show.
Yeah,
I think a three-legged goat would be fine with the help that we need back there. But this
right.
seems to be a guy that has some treads left on the tires and is not only familiar with Antonio Pierce and maybe the scheme, but probably fits his profile for how to play like a Raider. Would you agree?
I
Oh, yeah.
think that's a lot from what Coach Pierce has mentioned about this young man. I'm anxious to see him in action and see what he actually does.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to cram the playbook, but he's just going to play, I think, mostly on off instinct.
And instincts, yeah, exactly, exactly. And we've got all kinds of places we can put him.
Oh, yeah.
If we went out in a nickel formation against Tua on Sunday, I think that would be one thing that would screw him up.
Yeah, and it's not like
but
he hasn't seen the Dolphins before either, since he's coming
That's-
from that
That's
division.
right.
No, exactly, and I think that there's some strategy with regards to that in how to play defense, if you will, against that team. But they're going to have to have an answer for Tyreek Hill, and Mostert is no slouch
no
when it
slouch.
comes running the
Right.
ball either.
Right.
So I don't know, guys. I think the Dolphins probably put up 400 yards against the
Wow.
Raiders, and we're just going to be dog beat, dead tired coming out of there, which is kind of a bummer because you got to go home and play Kansas City on technically not a lot of rest, so to speak. But even if we get the loss, we don't get anybody seriously hurt. Being healthy is as much about winning these last 5 games or 6 games at the end of the season as anything else. Hill will destroy our secondary. That's possible. Jets had a players only meeting. Well, that's good for them. Salah's really, I mean, I like him as a head coach, but I think he's hurting his ball club right now. He doesn't have a lot of options at quarterback. So to make a change for the sake of making a change probably doesn't change anything. But
Yeah,
to be solidly behind a guy that can't throw across the street and hit a parked car makes you kind of wonder what's going on in the coach's office.
and which guy are you talking about that can't throw across the street? Because there's 2 of them on that.
Wilson.
Well, the other thing is he also said that if Rodgers is ready to play, he will play him, which is, that's a division that divides your locker room as well. Because again, Wilson is not the answer at quarterback, but
Right.
for him to say that Rodgers will play when Rodgers wants to play, and there are people that know that you honestly you're jeopardizing not only your team's future but his future. If you do want to have him play next year, I just think is asinine, but that's just me.
Yeah. So Lance's question, Cap, is what is the situation with Garoppolo? Is he not playing because of performance or because of his injuries?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's both of that. But it was injuries which gave them the excuse to pull him because of his performance.
Because of performance, right?
Yeah. So I think AOC's the guy until there isn't a guy or until he gets hurt and somebody else has to come back in.
AOC 4, remember AOC resides in New York.
Right. Sorry about that.
4.
What we did to the Jets defense, I don't see why we can't beat the Dolphins defense.
Remember, but the Dolphins have an offense there, Jimmy Farrell.
That's the thing. It's like we won that game against the Jets, but we only scored 16 points. But that's because the Jets can't score.
Can't score themselves.
The Jets couldn't score at a frat party on free beer Saturday. So
with roofies.
Right. So this is not a Dolphins team.
Not that I'm espousing such things. I'm just saying.
No, understood. No, it's not. We're not condoning anything. But this is not a Dolphins team that you can sit back and win with 16 points. You're going to have something like 42 or whatever. So
we're going to have another dynamic breakout game like we had against the Giants.
Yeah.
And if that happens, maybe.
AOC 4 would have to have 350 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Jacobs would have to have 140 some yards and 2 touchdowns. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
But where were we? Yes. So we taking the Bills at home against the New York Knickerbockers?
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills at home.
Okay. Yeah, I think they're just ticked off. However, loss by Buffalo against the Jets makes this whole Aaron Rodgers thing spin really interesting because now if the Jets somehow beat the Bills and the defense has decided that they're going to take this season over for these next couple of games, this is a Jets team with the way everybody else is playing AFC that might still have a chance if Aaron Rodgers comes back. I don't think that's going to happen, but it is what it is. The Seattle Seahawks going to go into LA to play the Rams in another division matchup this week. There's a lot of division matchups that will kind of help shape the playoff picture come Thanksgiving weekend. But I like the Seahawks on the road. They escaped last week, as we mentioned earlier,
Right.
against Washington. This is a Rams team, though, guys, that the defense is decent, but they don't have the running game. Matt Stafford is not 100%. I just don't know that they're going to have enough to be able to beat Seattle at home.
No,
I'm taking the Hawks on the road myself because of what you just said about that offense and the lack of a quote unquote dominant running game.
Richie with Jay with the Rams.
I was going to say, Richie, get yourself drug tested immediately, brother, and I'll see.
What's
I'll
up,
see
Richie?
I'll see you in about 28 minutes. But
Yeah,
still, get yourself,
we're working to get Cap out of here, so he'll
Oh,
make
no,
the
hey,
show.
don't worry. You can get
Well,
me
no,
right to 29.
but just so Rich knows, we had to move the show from tomorrow to today because V's going to be out of town. So it's not like we're reneging on our Thursday thing. We just have a
and
couple of
next week,
scheduling
and
conflicts.
next week too,
But-
by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Appreciate you,
good to
brother.
see you too. Bills will not win. Well, okay.
I don't know about that.
I
Again,
don't disagree with why he probably thinks that, because I respect that. I just think they're just pissed off. I just think that nobody wants the Bills this week, including the New York Jets.
well, hell, the
Minnesota.
Broncos didn't even want the Bills, and they did everything they could to give it the game back that the Bills were giving to
Well,
them.
I'll tell you what.
Great
Not
team.
only did the Bills give that away, but Denver
Give it away, give it away.
Denver did what they needed to do to contribute to getting their win, including good coaching by Sean Payton, who's not afraid to call for crazy stuff, including what they did. I think Wilson's over the hill, but he's been effective, and they're going to get. They being Denver is going to get Minnesota this week on Sunday night. The Vikings are going to go into Mile High and take their shot at the Denver Broncos. I think there's a Vikings team that's on a roll. I think Denver can learn a lot, win or lose against this Vikings team to kind of determine where they are. You guys like the Vikings on the road? Or do you think Broncos get another upset?
I won't say an upset, but I give them the edge because of home field.
I'm going to give the Vikings a small edge because, again, that they're learning how to play under Hobbs.
Yeah.
That's his name. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that they're gelling more for that. Again, the Broncos are a great defensive team. Like I said, I will elaborate more. Well, good.
Yeah.
Okay,
we're looking forward to hearing that.
But I think the Vikings are just a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, the Bills should have been just a little bit better too, and they didn't get it done. So,
Mm.
but I don't think Minnesota's going to give Denver the game in the same types of ways that Buffalo gave, if you will, Denver. And I'm not saying Denver didn't earn their part, because just because the other team turns the ball over doesn't mean you're going to win the game. Right. Oftentimes that is the case, but Denver also took advantage of the opportunities that they had, including how to manage the clock late in the game. That said, I like Minnesota. I just think that's the football pick. Not that far to travel. Should be a game that they can win on a Sunday night. But I think it could be interesting, and I'm looking forward to that one. Another one that could be for the books is the Philadelphia Eagles going to go into Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. I like the Eagles in this one. I think the Eagles feel like they have a chip on their shoulder for all kinds of reasons, including the Super Bowl. Right. I think the Chiefs feel like they're the Super Bowl chumps and they show up, they should win. I don't know if they're going to have the chin straps buckled just tight enough on Sunday. I think they're going to get beat by the Eagles in this one. I'm
picking the Eagles in the upset in this one.
Yeah, I just don't think the Chiefs are up for it. Asylum, I think the Jets might pull off the win. The Miami game is winnable as long as the Raiders follow my and Savage's keys to the game. Catch our show later to find out what they are.
Yeah, that is the grudge match. Make sure you hit up Asylum and Savage on the grudge.
I love it.
The cage match. It's either a cage or a grudge match.
I love it.
Asylum will say that, but check it out here.
These folks that have these awesome shows out there We appreciate your support on our show and right back at you. Whatever we can do to help you get support for your shows, that's awesome. But yeah,
Yes,
I would
sir.
love to know what those keys are. My football sense tells me that it
Cage
isn't
match.
gonna work, but that
Cage
doesn't mean
match.
I don't know what it is because you never know on
It
any
becomes
given Sunday.
it
And
becomes
this
a
is
grudge
not
match when I'm on that,
and
but
this
it is
is
the
not a
cage match.
right, and this is not this is not a visor led team. This is an Antonio Pierce led team. I think this team has a lot of work to do. The coaching staff has a lot of work to do. They're going to have to take a few on the chin. They're going to have to learn from their mistakes. It's new for everybody, and I know everybody's excited. I just think that it's a little bit too early and a little bit too much to expect too much. But what's different this time around is we're starting to hear things that we've wanted and have been begging to hear. Play smart, do these things right. And you can't turn all of that around when you haven't had an off season, a preseason, and all these things to get to this point. But I think they're going to duct tape the holes. I think they'll keep the ship from completely sinking. I don't think we'll make the playoffs, but I think at the end, when the dust settles, they'll be like, that was a hell of a 7 weeks or whatever it was we were out there
Yeah.
compared to everything else we have now. And I think when you focus, good or bad, guys, when the focus is on the football and not all these other distractions, I think that's also a positive in the direction of this team's heading.
Definitely. And that's all we can say for these guys is look, have that meter running up at the end of
Yep.
the season
Yep.
and having that whole off season plus OTAs, the draft, what have you.
Yep.
I think they address a lot of those holes that we do have.
Yeah, my prediction is that Antonio Pierce will be the head coach in 2024.
Well, I'm
That's
hoping so too. It got my vote second.
If they
Yep.
continue to play for him, and even on the offensive side, if Bo Hardigree shows a little bit more
Yeah.
panache and gets the
Yep.
offense to
Creativity.
play
Yep.
better,
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
reason why they can't just turn this staff over. And one thing that
Yeah.
Peggy said last night, which makes a lot of sense, it's cheaper to keep
Yeah.
the guys there, and they
No
already
doubt.
know the team. They don't
Yeah.
have to go out and get anybody either.
Yeah.
So if you look at the economics, like Marco likes to go to PF Chang's and Hooters, he
Yeah.
has more money for PF Chang's and Hooters if he
Yeah.
keeps the guys that are on staff.
Well, and I think the other thing that is selling in Las Vegas now that wasn't selling before is the culture of the football team,
Yes.
right?
Big time.
We're going to come here. We're going to play for each other.
Mhm.
And so that's a thing as well. It doesn't mean there won't be people come and go and all that sort of stuff. But in any case, I think there's a lot to do with that. We will have to execute aggressive play calling. I agree with that.
Awesome
And you know what?
Yeah.
If
like
if we do that, if we can open up some of the old playbooks and say, you know what, that's going to work. That's going to work. This is a team that could go toe to toe with Miami. They still don't win because Miami's offense and the defense just isn't strong enough to hold that tide back for 60 minutes. But if they execute, that's fine. I think it's back to what Cap said. I just don't think we'll be able to. I just think the biggest weakness at this point on offense is the offensive line. That's where games are won and lost is up front. And I think that's just going to be a pain in the ass for everybody for the rest of the season. I think they'll fix it. I think they'll address it. And I think things will be fine. But it's pretty tough to see the full potential of that offense and the weapons that we have, like Cap said earlier, if you can't keep AOC 4 upright or anybody else for that matter.
Anybody else back there?
Yeah. All right. So last week we said we were going to put the New York Jets on the clock. If they lost, they lost. Are we putting the New York Jets on the clock?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
I think we are. I think we have to at this point. I would love to put Buffalo Bills on the clock, but you can't do that when they're number 4 in scoring. But in any case, call it official, gavel, smack. The New York Jets are officially on the clock. That puts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 teams now out of 32.
Yeah.
NFL Nation Live has put on the clock. They might as
well. Weren't we going to do a 2-for-1
right
this week? We're going to do another team too.
Well, we did. I talked you into going ahead and putting Pittsburgh on last week.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we put the Steelers on the clock last week. The only other team really that that's in the bottom in scoring, there's two teams that we could consider: the Rams, possibly, and maybe Tennessee. Tennessee's what, 3-6. So I think the Rams and Titans are candidates coming up after Thanksgiving. I'd like to have closer to 15 teams on the clock, almost half the league, because at some point it's going to become obvious.
Yeah, obvious.
Who's on the clock. That doesn't give us much of an advantage if we're just following instead of leading. But I think that the Rams and Tennessee Titans are essentially next up for being on the clock. So let's take a quick look at that. All right, let's get Cap out of here so we can handle the Wild Wild West show. Please thank Richie Richey for joining us, as well as everybody else on this show. We appreciate the fans joining us. We know we've had some flip-flops on the schedule, but a self-funded show.
Deal with it. We're worth the time.
That kind of happens. But we appreciate you joining us regardless, and your input, because we know that not only are you smart, but you want a place to go to express that smartness, and we hope we give you the opportunity to do that. So for all of us here at NFL Nation Live, thank you for joining us. Next week's show will also be on Wednesday, because Thursday's Thanksgiving, and I can't do it on Thursday because I got to cut a turkey, among a few other things, including some pie and everything else. But so join us next week on Thursday. I'm sorry, on Wednesday. Next week on Wednesday for our Week 12 show. We'll get you ready for all the games on Thanksgiving, as we always do. We'll have one other bye, I think, when the Raiders play on Thursday night. We'll update you for whether that's going to be a Wednesday show or a bye week for us. It depends on everybody's travel schedule and all that. It's likely going to shape up to be a bye week unless we can tape the show earlier. And then we'll try to, as we turn the corner into the playoffs, we'll try to settle back in to Thursdays. But we appreciate you being with us regardless. And for all of us here at NFL Nation Live, thanks for joining us. And you guys have safe travels into Miami. Cheer your brains out. Let's see if we get lucky.
Remember, Wild Orchid is up in Stewart.
That'd be a joyous Week 12 show if we're talking about a Miami win. But I don't know, with Bill Vinovich's crew coming back to haunt us, I don't know. They did okay in the first game, but nobody knew what to expect. And actually, Sean's crew last week, Sean Ockley's crew, didn't really hurt us either. So kind of been waiting for that officiating ball to drop. It hasn't really hurt us. What's the last couple things in the chat?
We haven't got Hussey yet. He's going to screw us at the first opportunity.
Yeah, probably. What was that last comment in the chat? Something about somebody playing.
That was James.
Yeah, I thought there was somebody asked if somebody was going to play.
Yeah, I think it was like Miller.
Oh, yeah. Is Miller playing Sunday? Yeah. I don't see why not.
I don't see why he shouldn't be back.
Yeah, but we'll see. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Wednesday for Week 12. Get you ready for Thanksgiving. In the meantime, get that bird in the freezer, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah!
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Raiders. Love it. Squish the fish. That's right.
We'll see you in a minute. Yarg, Raider.